Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Butchery of Hindus was carried out in Kerala by leaders of the Khilafat movement. A movie made on the massacre is also being butchered. The director of the upcoming Malayalam film, Pulamuthil Pulavare, claims that systematic cuts have been made in his film in order to completely change its character. Now, the film has become a flashpoint between the CPM-led government Kerala and on one side, and on the other side is the filmmaker. The RSS has also slammed the left government in Kerala. The film aims to show the brutality of Islamic radicals who went after Hindus, killing and converting them under the guise of peasant uprising. The director says that the 7 cuts that the film has been subjected to completely changes its character, almost wiping all trace of the Islamist nature of the violence. For example, the scene based on the Tuvur well incident where Khilafat leaders held a rally with over 4,000 followers. In this so-called rally, at least 38 Hindus were bound, beheaded and shot. Their bodies were thrown in a well. This scene has been removed from the film. Similarly, another scene spoke of how there was an attempt to establish an independent Islamic state in the Malabar through systematic cleansing of Hindus. A state censor board member had the scene removed. The list goes on and on. Scenes depicting the forcible conversion of Hindus, attacks on their temples and cow slaughter were all cut. The director alleges that this sanitizing in the guise of censorship is taking place at the behest of the PFI and is nothing more than bowing before the large Muslim vote bank that the CPM, that the left woos in Kerala. Let us now listen to the reasons given by the censor board to stall the film and give the film a certification.
My movie based on the Malabar riots was supposed to be released 2 months back. However, the movie was not released as the censor board has been trying to remove the real historical facts from my movie, such as Tuvurvel, Nagalikavel, and forcible conversions. It was a known fact that Islamic fundamentalists was involved in Hindu genocide back then. This is a direct attack on my right to make a movie of my choice.
Time and again, the Malabar Massacre and forced conversion of Hindus by Moplahs has been concealed and often branded as an act of rebellion. People who carried out the targeted killings of Hindus were called freedom fighters and martyrs. 1921 Malabar Massacre was an uprising of Muslim tenants against British rulers and Hindu landlords. The rebellion went on for several months, leaving thousands dead. Several luminaries of those times, including B.R. Ambedkar and Annie Besant, have not just detailed but condemned the horrors unleashed on Hindus. However, left historians hail the decision by the censor board in the garb of protecting the integrity of the nation.
ഇതിന്റെ അകത്ത് പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഒന്നുമില്ല. അദ്ദേഹം പറയുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങൾ അദ്ദേഹത്തിന്റെ പോയിന്റ് ഓഫ് വ്യൂ നിന്ന് കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഇന്റർപ്രറ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നതാണ്. ഈ സിനിമ റിവൈസിംഗ് ആണ്. അവര് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് റെക്കമെൻഡേഷൻസ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് 2 ആഴ്ച മുമ്പ് നമ്മൾ അറിയിച്ചിട്ടുമുണ്ട്. സിനിമയ്ക്ക് ഈ പറയുന്ന പോലെ റെഫ്യൂസൽ ഓഫ് സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റ് ഒന്നും അല്ല, അഡൽട്ട് സർട്ടിഫിക്കറ്റ് ആണ് വിത്ത് കട്ട്സ് ആണ്. അപ്പൊ അതിന്റെ റെസ്പോൺസ് നമുക്ക് രാമസിംഹനിൽ നിന്ന് അഥവാ മിസ്റ്റർ അലി അക്ബർ അദ്ദേഹത്തിൽ നിന്ന് നമുക്ക് റെസ്പോൺസ് വന്നിട്ടില്ല. So, അടുത്ത സ്റ്റെപ്പ് എന്താന്നുള്ളത് he has to decide. Either he has to, submit the cuts and get the film certified, or he can go to court or whatever he wants.
Okay. But is there any objection to this movie from the side of the censor board here?
See, obviously there are cuts in the film. Those are the things which എന്താണ് നമ്മുടെ ഗൈഡ്ലൈൻസ് അത് പ്രകാരമുള്ള കട്ട്സ് കമ്മിറ്റി റെക്കമെൻഡ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. But now it is up to him to respond to the cuts and decide what he wants to do next. ഇത്രേ ഇപ്പൊ ആയിട്ടുള്ളൂ, ബാക്കിയുള്ളതെല്ലാം പുള്ളി പറയുന്നതാണ്. So I have nothing to comment upon those.
The censor board's decision not to issue certificate for Ali Akbar's movie on 1921 uprising could be seen as a welcome move, because this is the need of the hour. We have to protect the integrity of the nation and the communal fabric of the country, in which I think the director Ali Akbar is completely failed. If such a movie is allowed to be screened in various parts of India, it will have a disastrous implication on the communal equations and communal harmony of our country, and it will further harm the secular fabric of this country.
Let's open this this up, let's go across to our guests. We have Ramasimhan Aboobakker, the director of the movie, joining us on the broadcast. Let's first directly go across to him. Good evening to you. Mr. Aboobakker, you have made some very, very serious allegations against the state censor board, and you're saying that there are influential people in the industry, there are influential politicians as well, and the board itself is biased, and they've made these cuts to alter the plot of your movie. Why? Who is going to benefit from this? Why do you think that there is this biased attitude towards your movie?
Actually, I made a movie with a historical background. I took the entire history from the history books, and I met the affected people in the Malabar area, spoken to them. They gave me the historical evidence, and I saw the markings of their doors even now. It is there even now. And my film is a presentation, a docu-presentation actually, not an imaginary story. I took the entire sequence from the history, and just like a documentary, I made this film. And I'm not a judge to decide whether it is a rebellion or freedom fight or anything. I just expressed what in the history, 6 months history, from August 1921 August to 1922 February. And I just took little bit from the history. I can say it is less than 1% of the real fact in the history. If I am showing the real fact, the audience will cannot see that film, because that much cruelty has happened in that time. Peeling of skin. You imagine peeling of skin and putting chili to the body, hanging 5 or 6 days on the road. It all happened in 1921. And 18-year-old girl raped by 14 people. I didn't show even a single rape there in my film.
Mr. Aboobakker, you're saying you already kept the sensitivity of the audience in mind. Why do you think this is a deliberate attempt? Why are you alleging that the censor board members are influenced by the left ideology? Do you think they're taking directions from someone? Who are the influential politicians you're talking about?
Actually, the whitewashing of history is going on Kerala, actually. Not in Kerala, on entire world. They want to cover up the real history. They want to cover up. For whom? For the Islamic, what I can say, for achieving some votes from the hardest minds, actually. So they are manipulating everything, even from the Kerala censor board. And there was 2 revising committee. Only me know what happened in that revising committee. They smiled to me. They given little bit suggestion for cuts. After all, they given the entire sequence. They given notice to me that the entire sequence of the Urwell, Nagalika well, forcible conviction must be deleted from the film.
Okay.
How can I show my film without Tubur well? Everybody knows what is Tubur well. Even you can Google Tubur well. You will get the history about the Tubur.
Right. Mr. Aboobakker, are you saying this is to whitewash the fact that the Hindu genocide did take place? Is that the real reason behind this? Is that what you're saying? And if yes, then who is directing all this?
Yes.
Who's giving the orders?
2 years back, one superstar and super director want to start a film on Varyum Kunnan. as a hero. They want to whitewash the entire history.
Okay.
That time, my friends came to me and told me, if you are ready, we will give you the money to make a film. And you know, from the entire world, they given 50 rupees, 100 rupees and 1000 rupees to my account. Within 6 months, it reached up to 1 crore 75 lakhs. I made this film by the people, for the people. They want to know the real history. They want to see the real history. They want to show the real history to their sons. That is why I made this film.
But Mr. Aboobakker, are you saying everybody from the state to the center is trying to stall your film? Because I believe the revising committee comes under the CBFC.
Yeah, in first revising committee, there were around 5 Malayali people and even a historian.
Okay.
You think about it, even a historian. Out of 9, 6 were with me. Out of 9, 6 were with me. Then I don't know what happened to they asked to the another revision, re-revision.
All right. So you're saying it was during the second revising committee that those cuts were imposed on the film that alter the entire plot of your film. Thank you very much, Mr. Aboobakker, for joining us on the broadcast, for giving us your time. Let's now open this up and go across to our guests, and let's in fact ask some important questions. We have UdayMahurkar with us. He's an author and also a historian. We have political analyst Abhijit Iyer Mitra, author Anurag Naidu joining us on the broadcast tonight as well. We have Danish Qureshi, a political analyst, advocate Ehtesham Hashmi and Tehseen Poonawala, both political analysts. Good evening to all of you. Advocate Ehtesham Hashmi, why this denial? The director says, I did my research. This is based on historical facts. There is a deliberate attempt to whitewash the fact that the Hindu genocide took place. Why this denial? We saw this in the case of Kashmir Files movie as well, and now in this movie. Advocate Hashmi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Actually, your voice is breaking, but still I got your question and I'll try to answer it. I got your question, but your voice is breaking, but still I got your question and I'll try to answer it. These kinds of filmmakers are putting national security at stake. As we all know that we are on the brink of genocide of Muslim citizen of India, and we all know that. There is one researcher, George Stanton, an expert on genocidal violence, had warned that India was on the brink of an anti-Muslim genocide. And main aim of these kinds of anti-social filmmakers and to create a law and order situation in our country.
You live here in India, I live here in India, sir. What makes you say that we are at the brink of Muslim genocide? आप भी यही रहते हैं, मैं भी यही रहती हूँ. Based on what you're saying that we are on the brink of a Muslim genocide in this country.
Please read the research paper issued by George Stanton.
That's what I'm saying. You and I live here. We witness the daily affair in this country. We are abreast with the developments that take place every day in this country. What is your assessment?
And these kinds of filmmakers are doing their best to aggravate this situation.
How are they aggravating the situation? If it is a historical fact that the rebellion that initially started against the Britishers and the landlords took a communal turn, and the character of that changed and became communal, and thousands of people were butchered.
Lakhs of Hindu brothers and sisters.
If that historical fact is being put out in a film, how is that? How is that? One second, सुन तो लीजिए. Advocate Hashmi, सुन तो लीजिए. Advocate Hashmi, सुन तो लीजिए.
Kinds of filmmakers to instigate the violence in India.
Oh, if it is only a Hindu genocide, does it harm the fabric of the country? Is there a pattern that if a movie like Kashmir File is made that talks about Hindu genocide in the Kashmir Valley, and if this movie is made that talks about Hindu genocide during the rebellion, then that movie harms the fabric of the country?
These kinds of directors and filmmakers to destroy the social fabric and
okay, so you're saying historical facts
of our country.
Historical facts should not be cited. Such movies should not be made, even if it is a historical fact, even if that has happened and thousands of people have been butchered. Let's not talk about it because Hindu genocide has happened. Okay. UdayMahurkar is not just an author and historian. In fact, his books on Veer Savarkar has an entire chapter on minority appeasement, and it talks about the Moplah riots. Mahurkar ji, I want to come to you. Mahurkar ji, what happened during the rebellion? Because Advocate Hashmi says today, you know, such directors are picking up such topics only because they want to harm the social fabric of this country, and this is just going to incite people and provoke violence.
No. I don't agree at all. You see, in the last 230 years, there are two episodes which can be called Islamic Jihad. First one was the 1895 Jihad of Amir Abdul Rahman of Afghanistan against the Kalash people in Kafiristan area of Afghanistan, which is on the Afghanistan-Pakistan border as of today. And the second jihad was the Mophla Jihad against Hindus and Christians of Kerala. So it is history. History cannot be suppressed, and more than that, what consequences India would pay if it compromises with pan-Islamists. It was a compromise with the pan-Islamists on the part of Congress, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, everybody. So basically, can you suppress real history? And secondly, if you want to stop recurrence of such episodes in future, are you not supposed to enlighten the people, make them aware? That is one. Secondly, the Congress tried to play down Moplah, I would call it pogrom, even at that time. Congress resolutions clearly state they have tried to play down the entire thing. It was exposed only because of the statements and the line which people like Annie Besant took. They were the ones who brought it, gave it an official, I would say, sanction, you know. Otherwise, Congress was allowed to suppress this entire dark episode. And another thing, you know, let us talk about the Khilafat resolution of 1921. Which Congress had passed. What was Khilafat resolution? Khilafat resolution said that the foreign policy of independent India will take into consideration the religious obligations of the Muslim community. And the same policy was followed by Congress for 44 years after independence. It was only when Narasimha Rao established full diplomatic relations with Israel that we ended that policy. Otherwise, our policy, foreign policy, especially with regard to Israel, was being carried on the basis of the 1921 Khilafat resolution of the Congress. So Khilafat episode as a whole cannot be suppressed. I think RSS has rendered a great service to the nation. Because it has got national security angle also.
Okay, Danish Qureshi, why are we living in denial? Why are important scenes being cut from a movie that established Hindu genocide during the rebellion?
I think we have two options in the country. One, you can promote the movies of communal harmony, or you can penetrate the movies which we are talking about of genocide. Number of genocides held in India even after independence. This is all about before independence in 1921. That nothing to do with the democracy. Remember one thing. Before 1947, we were not in as an independent state or a democratic state. But the things are after democracy.
So should we just deny whatever happened before independence?
The movies like this.
Should we just close our eyes and deny whatever happened before independence? Also in 1988, a movie was made titled 1921 in which the protagonist joins the Haji Brigade. There was no objection to that film. So if this entire issue is so contentious, then why one aspect of the movie, of the episode can be shown and another aspect can't be shown?
This can be justification to promote a movie which create the hatred in the society, and we saw what is the situation, current situation of India. People like Yati Narsinganand are ready for the genocidal process of 20 lakhs Muslim, and in such circumstances, the movie like such, if really promoted, what will be the result?
You You are misleading the nation. Yatinan Saraswati is not supported by a large section of people who call themselves Hindutva people. So mind you one thing,
this is not about the supporting or not supporting. Remember, let me allow to complete. Yes, exactly. I want to say that don't try to justify anything which cannot be promoted in the civil society.
Absolutely, Danish Qureshi, absolutely. And whatever has happened during the rebellion is a historical fact. Also, tell me something. This movie will disturb communal harmony, but a panelist saying that India is on the brink, citing some reports saying India is on the brink of a Muslim genocide, that is not going to disturb communal harmony in the country. Is that not a provocative statement?
I think we have saw what happened in Bilkis Bano matter. We knew very well what happened. Who were the people, those who have
Bilkis
killed
Bano
the
case
number
कहाँ
of
से आ गया?
family members of Bilkis Bano, and they are free.
दानिश जी, बिल्किस बानो केस कहाँ से आ गया?
अरे तो कैसे नहीं आएगा?
तो आपको नहीं पता, आपको पता नहीं कोर्ट में मामला है। आपको पता नहीं मामला कोर्ट में है? नहीं, मामला कोर्ट में आपको पता नहीं। And what is the why are you drawing parallels? Why are you drawing parallels between the Bilkis Bano case and the Hindu genocide?
Why not? Because
what is the logic?
She is from minority religion. He was been treated like this.
What is the logic?
No, yes, exactly. We are asking to the Gujarat government that what is the logic
Abhijit
behind
Iyer
the
Mitra.
releasing of the
Abhijit Iyer Mitra, first it was Kashmir Files because that spoke about ethnic cleansing of Hindus in the valley, and now it's this Malayalam movie. 7 scenes that establish genocide, 7 scenes that establish how there was an attempt to establish an Islamic State have been cut out of the movie.
See, did anybody object to films being made on Godhra? Was there, in fact, I can show you several clips where panel members here have said we need to discuss more about Godhra. Okay, did you even hear the accused in that, Amit Shah or Narendra Modi, ever say there should be an investigation or film should portray anything? There was a whole website called The Truth of Gujarat that was running this, which have all proven to be false. That's a different matter. But the point is, if you are hiding things, it is never a solution. It is never a solution to society. The way you confront your past is to deal with it head on. This is why we have a Holocaust memorial. Okay, peace in Germany does not depend on hiding the Holocaust. It depends on confronting the Holocaust. Now, you know what is particularly insidious about what Danish and Ehtasham have just said is that they have accepted that there is a Sunni monopoly on street violence in this country. It is code. When they say we need it for communal harmony, they basically want to say that do not do something where our core religionists come out on the street and start burning and killing people. Okay, he used the example of Yati Narsinganand. Yati Narsinganand said lots of horrible things. Did anybody come out on the road and do anything about it? But when Mohammed Zubair tweets about Nupur Sharma, 12 people were killed. 2 people had their heads literally chopped off, which incidentally was the way what the director was saying earlier, the Tuvur well incident. There was a man waiting near the well who, just like the tailor who had his head chopped off, he would one by one, he would slit their throats, hack their heads off, and then throw them into the well. So I find this standard particularly strange that they're applying, where they accept that their community has some kind of a street monopoly on violence, and that should not be. Understand, it is not a plea for communal harmony. It is a threat of communal violence masked in a plea of communal harmony. Second, let's talk about the other things that happened in the Moplah rebellion. This was a direct result, as UdayMahurkar ji said, of the khilafat movement, because remember, this is why Jinnah left the Congress. Because Gandhi was willing to pay with extremely dangerous religious centripetal forces. He brought it into play. He got these 2 extraordinarily regressive elements, these 2 brothers, into the entire game, wanted to oppose something that was happening in a completely different part of the world, and he set in motion the kind of fanaticism whose effects we see right till today. The effects of Gandhi's khilafat movement still hang around every Indian's neck like a noose. All right. So let us be very, very clear about this. that all this talk of this will harm the social fabric. Understand, social fabric, there are two parties involved. There is only one party that is known to harm the social fabric at the drop of a hat, including for TV interview and for anything else.
Tehseen Poonawalla.
Good evening, Swati. Thank you for having me on the show. Good evening to all my fellow panelists and to all your viewers. I have a slightly complex take on it, so kindly allow me to give my take. But for starters, I just want to make one thing very clear to viewers, though that's not a topic of the debate and we moved on to that, I don't know for what reason. It was on September 17, 1950 that India recognized Israel as a country. It was one of the first countries in the world to do so. And in the same year, in 1950, under the leadership of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, Israel established its first trading embassy in Bombay. Since then, 1956, India has been involved with Israel, and there's a long list until 2013. So to say everything is done by the present BJP government is a lie. In fact, it is the Congress government that increased ties with Israel. So let's not go there. Now let's come to the issue that we're discussing, because that is the more pertinent issue, and I completely agree with my friend Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Look, you don't like a movie, don't watch it. You don't have the right to censor a movie. You don't like a news channel, change the channel. You don't like a painting, walk out of the art gallery. You don't have a right to threaten people or to threaten the country and say, hey, this movie should not be made because it will lead to a lot of violence. To that point, I disagree with both the panelists on the show. But here's the point. This movie, if it's being censored, is being censored by a board which is under the central government, not under the state government. If you're not happy with it, and the filmmaker has all the rights not to be happy with it, go to the regional, go to the headquarters. If he's still not got justice, go to the appellate in New Delhi, and he's still not got justice. There are two wonderful lawyers on this panel. Please hire them and go to the court.
That's what the director is doing. He is going to the court, but he's also levying very serious allegations of the board members being influenced. Board members doing this deliberately.
Fair point, and I respect his allegations. But A, those allegations are his. He has a vested interest in making those allegations because he wants perhaps some sort of traction for his movie. Or B, he's right and he should prove it in court. But this is not a state issue. This is a central government issue. So the question to be asked is to Udayji and to Mr. Modi, who promised us no censorship. Why is there censorship? Now here's the problem, and this is where I'd like to end. Mr. Modi says one thing, does a completely another thing. In 2013, and I remember while campaigning, Mr. Modi made it explicitly clear that there is no role for censorship in modern India. He even said this while Kashmir Files. So why does he continue with the censor board? Why can't he reform it? The censor board only gives certificates.
Okay, Anurag Naidu, the reviewing committee under the CBFC first made minor cuts, like the director was saying, and then major cuts. 7 main scenes of the movie were cut from the movie that established the Hindu genocide or the talks of establishing the Islamic State. So who really here is trying to stall the movie?
I think it's clearly, he made the allegations very clear. Mr. Ramasimhan, if your interviews, he was very articulative, and his charges were very basic. We don't have to even dig into the history and, all the khilafat movement and Moplah genocide. We don't have to do that. But what he said is very clear, that the state censor board was continuously putting pressure on the CBFC to change it and to lobby. He clearly made his charges that he was satisfied after the first round of clearance, and in the second round there was some kind of lobbying and there was some kind of pressure which made the whole thing change, and he's ready to fight for it, and he's making very clear there is no vested interest. My dear friend Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla said he has a vested interest, but he's making it very clear. In your interview right before the show, he said that I have done my research, and he has quoted the reference from where it's picked up. He has quoted the historical evidences from Malabar, and he's very clear. See, let's understand whether the persecution of Hindus was true or no. Everyone will accept, yes, it was true. Whether Malabar was dominated by Muslims, yes, today it is. Whether it was dominated before 1921, no, it was not. Whether there was a large-scale migration of Hindus from Malabar, yes, we all know that. Whether it is some new allegation, no. It is a public domain information. There are hundreds of articles and tens of books written on this. So there is no conflict here. What we are trying to do here is people who are trying to object do not know that they are in a way promoting and creating curiosity for the millennials to know more about this. And the more they know about it, one way or the other way.
But Anurag Naidu, tell me something. You're saying that the state censor board actually managed to influence the CBFC and build pressure on the CBFC to go for those 7 major cuts in the film?
That's what the director is claiming, and I think we have to respect it. The only evidence we have is he has because he is involved in the process and he is leveling some serious charges, even taking names of people from the state censor board who have been pursuing this matter with CBFC to ensure that these cuts are made. So if he is making his case, I don't want to kind of, spill something out which do not have an evidence, but I go by what he is charging, what he's, willing to fight. He's taking some categorical names, and I think we should give space to him.
Tehseen Poonawalla wants to counter.
Allow me right to rebut.
Tehseen Poonawalla wants to counter.
Yes. Anurag, I am on the same page as you. I don't think there should be censorship. It is Mr. Modi who promised there won't be censorship, and it's his board who's censoring it. So now, when I say the director has a vested interest, all I'm trying to say is, look, his movie will get promoted either ways, or he's speaking the truth. I don't know the truth, neither do you. He has to prove his case before the tribunal or before a court of law. He cannot prove it on Times Now or any other channel. But what I'm trying to say is, we need reforms. This reforms was promised to us in 2013.
A similar design was followed when Kashmir Files. A similar design was followed for Kashmir Files. Abhijit Iyer Mitra. Are these directors just doing it to gain traction?
See, if the directors are doing it to get traction, then that implies that they are in collusion with the CBFC and people like that. So there are two fantastical allegations being made, one by the director and one here, that either the director is in cahoot with the CBFC or the local state board is in collusion with the CBFC. But I do believe the CBFC is an obsolete and anachronistic body. Tehseen pretty much nailed it. Because see, in proper developed countries, you do not have certification bodies like this. You have bodies for classification, and it is left up to the movie theaters if they want to play it, and everybody plays everything, and it is clearly marked, and there are guards at the door to see that children don't go into adult movies, right? The problem here is, on one hand, we don't accept that people have the authority to go watch what they want or walk out of any movie that they want on the first, and second, we tend to infantilize adults. What is the point of being 18 years old? If you've got the right to vote, then you also have certain responsibilities not to go out onto the street and riot. You're meant to behave, like we say, grow up, behave like an adult. That is what being an adult means. Here we think everybody is a prepubescent teen who needs to be mollycoddled by the state and the government, and hurt feelings need to be assuaged and whatnot. And we need some alleged white scholar writing on India being genocide imminent. हर चीज का गोरे लोगों का छापा लगना पड़ता है हम पे. गोरे लोगों के छापा के बिना तो ये
Okay, while both Tehseen and you are questioning even the existence of the censor board, the director is alleging that this is being done deliberately because there's this left ideology at play in Kerala. The BJP and RSS advocate, Hashmi, I want to bring you in. The RSS in fact has specifically slammed the censor board, the state censor board, alleging that several such contentious movies, several such controversial movies were given a go-ahead. Back then, the censor board never thought about communal harmony being disturbed in the state or in the country. Only when it comes to this particular movie, only when it comes to Hindu genocide, everybody has been alarmed. Advocate Hashmi, can you hear me? Okay, Danish Qureshi, अगर आपने मेरी बात सुनी है तो please respond.
देखिए, मैं तो सिर्फ इतना ही कहूँगा जो मैंने पहले भी कहा है और फिर से कह रहा हूँ. प्रॉब्लम क्या है, अभी जो मेरी एज के जो नौजवान हैं जो शायद पढ़ लिख के 2-4-10 साल हो गए हैं, उनको अब ये समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि इस देश के हीरो जवाहरलाल नेहरू जी हैं या सावरकर जी हैं. हर एक राजनीतिक पार्टी या हर एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अपनी तरीके से चीज़ों को पेश कर रहा है. ये देश के लिए अच्छा नहीं है. मैंने आपसे कहा कि आपके पास दो चॉइस है. आप एक अच्छे कंटेंट के साथ
अपने तरीके से पेश करने वाली क्या बात है,
कैसे बढ़े उस पर भी काम
मूवी में अपने तरीके से पेश करने वाली क्या बात है.
तो अगर सेंसर बोर्ड को लगा है तभी तो सेंसर, आप सुनिए स्वाति सुनिए, सेंसर बोर्ड को अगर कुछ लगा है तभी तो उसमें कट्स रखे गए हैं ना.
डायरेक्टर कह रहे हैं कि इन्फ्लुएंस में आके किया जा रहा है. पॉलिटिशियंस हैं, फिल्म इंडस्ट्री के पावरफुल लोग हैं जो चाहते नहीं है कि उनकी मूवी रिलीज हो.
नहीं तो बढ़िया बात है. अगर उनको लग रहा है इन्फ्लुएंस में, तो मुझे लगता है कि शायद उनको अदालत का दरवाजा खटखटाना.
वो कर रहे हैं ऐसा. That he is doing, but that's not the point. He is already approaching the court. That's not the point, Advocate Hashmi. The point is the design. The point is the design that was
good.
and the pattern that was followed even when Kashmir Files was about to be released, even now in case of this particular movie. So what is the fear here? डर क्या है कि हिंदू जेनोसाइड अगर दिखा देंगे तो उससे कम्युनल हार्मनी पूरे देश की बिगड़ जाएगी?
This is not.
Yes, go ahead, Advocate Hashmi. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, see, there is no issue in any kind of movie, but it's a matter of CBFC, Central Board of Film Certification. If the director have any issue with the Central Board of Film Certification regarding few cuts, then he can approach the Honorable High Court or Supreme Court of India. These kinds of matter cannot be decided on these new channels. And I am also may I make one small request with that filmmaker? Can he show some courage to make movie on Gujarat Files, the book written by Rana Ayub? Does he have the courage to make movie on Gujarat Files?
I think
why
Abhijit
can't we have a selective?
Abhijit Ayar already has countered that point.
With all due respect, if you want to make a movie about Gujarat Files, you make it. Now, who's stopping you? उसको क्यों अपना पैसा बर्बाद करना है तुम्हारे आइडिया पे? Are you going to fund it?
Then in Gujarat Files,
बात तमीज से करो, तुम्हारे हमारे मत करो, सड़क छाप गुंडे की तरह बात मत करो, ठीक है? पढ़े लिखे हो, पढ़े लिखे लोगों से बात
एक सेकंड नहीं, आपको डिसरिस्पेक्ट करने के लिए नहीं बोल रहे हैं एडवोकेट हाशमी। एक सेकंड एडवोकेट हाशमी, जो उन्होंने सवाल पूछा उसका जवाब दीजिए। हाउ मेनी सच मूवीज हैव बीन मेड ऑन गोधरा, ऑन गुजरात फाइल्स, लाइक यू सेड, एंड हाउ मेनी सच मूवीज हैव बीन ऑब्जेक्टेड टू? कितने बार ऐसा हुआ है इस देश में? अगर आपके पास कोई ऐसी लिस्ट है तो प्लीज रखिए, बताइए, प्लीज टेल अस।
You can obtain detailed data from CBFC. I can give you list of at least 150 movies on which CBFC has suggested few cuts, few amendments, few changes. Have you seen and watched the movie Padmavati? Why
is that movie on
the name of movie Padmavati?
Is that movie on Moplah? Is that movie on Kashmir or is that movie on Gujarat? किस चीज पर?
I am just answering your query.
नहीं, किस चीज पर वो मूवी था? You're talking about Gujarat Files.
Please read.
You're talking about Gujarat Files.
Read some good books, man.
You're talking about Gujarat Files. All I'm asking you is the movie that you're talking about.
This is not a way to conduct a debate.
What else is the way? I am asking you questions. I am asking you questions. I am asking you a very simple question. I know how to conduct a debate. I don't need a lecture on that. I'm just asking you a very simple question. Please present a list of how many movies or attempts were made.
Even I don't need
how many movies or attempts were made on the Godhra episode? What kind of objections were raised? कितनी बार ऐसे आपको proposals सामने दिखाई दिए? Just respond to that.
I can name at least 150 movies before your channel, and I can give you a very good lecture on this topic. CBFC, if you have a phone with you, you can Google it, write it now. That CBFC has suggested at least 1,000 times to 1,000 movies that few cuts should be made, few amendments should be made, few changes should be made, just to protect the law and order of the society. Do you have any knowledge about A certification which is given by CBFC? Have you heard about it, madam?
नहीं,
have you heard about
मुझे तो फिल्म्स के बारे में कुछ पता ही नहीं है. I have no idea about
movies.
अरे मुझे तो फिल्म्स के बारे में कुछ पता ही नहीं है. आप ही ज्ञानवर्धन कर दीजिए. आप ही ज्ञानवर्धन कर दीजिए. I am asking you a question. You said if the director has guts, he should go ahead and make a movie called Gujarat Files. I asked you a question specifically on that. You are telling Abhijit Ayar Mitra to not attack you personally, but you are doing the same to me. Anurag Naidu, how many films have been made?
Yeah. No, Swati, there is a saying, if you can't convince somebody, confuse them. So some panelists are having this philosophy. The question was very straight put out by Abhijit, and even if somebody like me, who is hurt, absolutely hurt, and I'm very anguished, I will put my own investment, I'll go tooth and nail to the court and everything, I will make my own movie, and I will put my ideology if I so believe in that. So that is a classic argument. I don't want to get more into it, but there is a classic display of argument of convenience and politics of convenience at display. you know how it is when every time we come and we say, oh, Savarkar, Nehru. Bhaiya, Savarkar apni jagah hai, Nehru ji apni jagah.
All right.
Koi acha, koi bura nahi kehte. So let's have.
Okay, Anurag Naidu, I'm running out of time. The director has made very serious allegations against the board. The director says that there is an agenda. This is being done deliberately to whitewash the Hindu genocide and completely change the plot of his movie. There are some panelists who are saying that the CBFC has all powers and rights to cut out such scenes that affect and impact the social fabric and the communal harmony in the country. Viewers, you decide what really is happening as far as this movie is concerned. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.